Oh, we're back to another snowfall overnight. Still a light snowfall right now. We're headed down 9th line all the way down to Oakville.
Back in grants when you replace your old drafty windows with EcoChoice energy-saving windows. Order today and save 35%. Plus, don't pay for 90 days. There's only one choice. Visit ecochoicewindows.ca.
City News Time 12:11.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the one. How are things looking out there, Carrie?
Well, we still have a number of problems on the major routes right now, Steve. This report brought to you by Concord Sky. Westbound on the 401, west of Mavis and the Express. The left lane is blocked, all due to a collision. Across the GTA, it's a slow go on the westbound 401 from Sixon to Salem, then jammed up from Islington all the way through to about Dixie and the Express. We have a row of clouds making their way through that stretch, and then it gets jammed up again from Mavis and the Express to approaching Mississauga Road. Southbound on the 400, south of King Road, the two right lanes are blocked with a collision, and MTO says the westbound King Road ramp to the southbound 400 is shut down because of this problem. Also, we had some snowplows make their way southbound 400. They're just coming through Teston, so it gets jammed up approaching King Road down to Teston. Eastbound on the 401, approaching Islington and the Express. That collision just cleared away. It's still heavily backed up from the 427. And southbound Kennedy, the ramp to the eastbound 401, that's fully reopened. But now we have a new problem on the eastbound 401 ramp to McAllen. The right lane is blocked because of a collision, so be careful taking that ramp. Heading into the Durham region, it's busy on the eastbound 401 from Westney to east of Salem. Westbound on the Gardner QEW combination, we had an earlier problem approaching Burloak. So still seeing delays here from about Doorbell to just west of Bronte. Looks okay though on the eastbound side of the QEW. The eastbound Gardner is doing okay heading into downtown as well. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's still go from Don Mills up to York Mills. I'm not spotting any problems along the way. And the northbound 404 is looking much better now. North of the city, we had some snow clouds on that route as well. Last we heard from traffic spotters, eastbound on Queensway from Royal York to Park Lawn, still has the right lane closed through that stretch for construction. Landmark Tower, iconic location, located next to Toronto's landmark of Yonge and Dundas Square at 95 stories tall. Concord Sky is set to become one of Canada's tallest skyscrapers. Learn more at concordsky.ca. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Well, weather advisories no longer in effect through parts of York and northern Durham as well, but they are still in place in some sections of the GTA, including Toronto, the Burlington, Oakville area, Mississauga, Brampton. They're all starting to get drops now. As we move through this hour, we are seeing most of the active weather taper off. The wind's easing a little bit as well, although they're still breezy in spots, so you could still be dealing with some blowing snow. The afternoon drive a lot better than this morning's commute. Saturday should be a quiet day. We'll hang on to mainly cloudy conditions, but certainly have some sunny breaks at highs around -2. Guaranteed high today, -5. City News Time 12:13.
And it's time for the Dynamic Funds Market Minute. And for that, let's go to the Business Center and check in. How have the markets been so far, Chris?
Still looks good, Steve. In fact, the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the TSX potentially are going to finish the week now with gains thanks to today's session. So the NASDAQ right now up by 147 points. The S&P higher by 84. The Dow is higher by 659. It's still likely looking at a losing week for a third straight week. And then Bay Street is likely to finish the week with a slight gain. Right now it's up by 243 to 21,006. That's even with gold down $39, 1886. Oil is down $1.45 to 91.36, and the Canadian dollar higher by 0.4 cents, 78.43 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Still think investing is all about saving on fees? It's time to discover the true value of financial advice. Speak to a financial advisor today and visit dynamic.ca/advice to learn more.
Remember the bed that was your first bouncy castle? The sofa where you cuddled your loved ones while watching your favorite movies? The area rug that kept your feet warm on a cold day? I'm Steve Forberg, CEO of Decorium. We believe furniture is not just what you buy, but where memories are born and lives unfold. Our designers will work with you for free to design a space that you'll be forever proud to call home. Visit today or shop online and save up to 65% off store-wide. Decorium, your style, your destination.
Hi, I'm Sean Gladney, President of the Investigators Group. For almost 3 decades, we have provided investigative solutions to companies big and small and help them investigate their insurance, workplace injury claims, thefts, and frauds. If you run a business, you know how your operations are impacted by improper claims. The Investigators Group provides investigative solutions. Our customers appreciate our experience and superior customer service. For a free consultation, call 1-800-SOLVE-IT or visit investigatorsgroup.com.
Toronto's news. Now, this is City News 680. Everywhere.
We still have a little bit of light snow in downtown Toronto right now. -8 degrees, feeling like -15 when you factor in some wind. Good afternoon. I'm Steve Roberts.
And I'm Irene Frecklett. Here are the top stories this hour.
Well, Russian troops are bearing down on Ukraine's capital today with gunfire and explosions that have been continuing to resonate even closer to the government quarters there. This as millions either stay home or are trying to leave the country as fast as they can. Closer to home, Ontario's Liberal leader now saying that he wants the LCBO to pull some products now in response to the Russian invasion. And mayors from several major border cities have been stepping up today, calling on the federal government to drop some key testing requirements that they say really are affecting the economies of many of their communities. Time now for sports, and from Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Caroline Frolick.
Why, thanks, Steve. After that long All-Star break, the Raptors are back at it tonight on the road at Charlotte. Entering the break, Toronto were on a 9-2 run, while Charlotte are just 1-9 in their last 10. This one begins at 7 o'clock. The Leafs, meanwhile, have the night off after taking care of the Wild 3-1 last night. How about Austin Matthews? He had 2 goals in the game. That gives him 36 on the season, moving him past Leon Draisaitl for the league lead. Tomorrow night, the Leafs head to Detroit. Overseas, the sports world is reacting to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia has been stripped of hosting the Champions League final by UEFA, with St. Petersburg being replaced by Paris. Also, Formula One dropped this season's Russian Grand Prix at Sochi. Manchester United also dropped Russian state-owned airline Aeroflot as a sponsor. And finally, the International Ski Federation announced that Russia will not host any more of its World Cup events this winter. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca. Your employment rights with Lior Samfiru from employmentlawyer.ca.
There are many severance payments floating around. That you only get 2 weeks' pay. That you don't get compensation if you're let go due to COVID-19. Or that you only have a few days to accept a severance package. The truth is that your severance package could be as much as 24 months' pay. You still get severance if you lost your job because of COVID-19, and you have 2 years to get your severance.
When you think of a cup of Nespresso, where does your mind go? Does it take you to the hot springs of Costa Rica, where we bathe our malty and balanced Arabica beans in the mineral-rich waters? Or to the dry tropical heat of Nicaragua, where beans are hand-turned, caramelizing under the intense sun for a sweeter, smoother cup? Nespresso, crafted from exceptional nature. The big story.
I'm your host, Jordan Heath Rawlings. What does Russia's invasion of Ukraine mean for the world's future? Listen at The Big Story, podcast.ca, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It turns out the Foo Fighters are now out with a new release, but it's not an album. It's actually a movie. Studio 666.
You guys get this overwhelming sense of death.
It's a horror movie comedy from the mind of Dave Grohl, who tells me he grew up on this combination of horror and rock and roll.
Well, I mean, I think with most kids, who grew up in the 70s, it kind of begins with Kiss. Kiss, Motley Crue, Wasp, basically any band that was like covered in blood and had like meat boxes on stage.
That's Foo Fighters guitarist Chris Shiflett. He's in the movie. The whole band is in the movie, including Pat Smear. What's harder, making a movie or making a...
Making a movie.
No matter what you're saying afterwards. Studio 666 is in theaters today. Jason Abrams and ABC News. Hollywood.
And coming up in just 60 seconds, turns out it's been a volatile week when it comes to the oil sector. Chris McCusker with details next.
City News Time, 12:25.
This week at Fresco, for just $5 a pound, get fresh beef sirloin tip roast. How fresh? If you're not satisfied, you'll get a full refund and a free replacement. That's our double fresh guarantee. So don't pay more for fresh. Fresco, lowering food prices. See Fresco.com for details.
Motley Crue.
Owner made incorporating my small business quick and affordable, so I could focus on all the other fun stuff, like answering all the phone calls. Hello? No, now's a good time to talk.
Visit owner.co to make small business less hard. City News Time, 12:26.
So now for the business report brought to you today by Desjardins. Let's check in at the business center now, where Chris has been keeping an eye on oil all week long, and it's like most things have been just a roller coaster out there.
Yeah, it sure has. So it started this shortened trading week on Tuesday at 94.05. Right now it's down $1.89, $90.91. Yesterday, though, it moved above $100, so it's somewhat back below that. And really, the invasion of Ukraine is only part of the story. Eric Nolan, partner and senior portfolio manager at 9 Partners.
I think the realization is that the Biden administration is vulnerable to inflationary pressures in the upcoming midterms, and so they are unable to do anything that prevents the physical flow of oil that resulted in this spike high $100 oil. So I think that's what the market came to the realization that it's fairly ineffective. It wasn't effective this year, it wouldn't be effective this year. It's maybe a 1 or 2 day event. The other dynamic that people are wrapping their heads around is by the end of the year, Iran, we're thinking perhaps as early as today.
Now, what we were hearing from our friends at Enpro was that this time yesterday, potentially, we are looking at a 5-cent increase at the pump. On Saturday, we're now looking at a 2-cent increase. Now, energy stocks higher on Bay Street, even with oil in the red today. Right now, the TSX up by 273, 21,035. So potentially back-to-back gains and potentially a gain this week. And the thing is, gold is holding it back a bit today. Gold is down $40, $18.85. The Canadian dollar up by 0.4 cents, 78.42 cents US. And then shares in CIBC right now up by about 5%. That bank beat on first quarter earnings expectations. Now in the US, we've got back-to-back gains here as well. The NASDAQ up by 161. big day. We'll get you set for it all coming up in sports at 45. Markets looking at back-to-back gains. The Dow, though, likely still looking at a losing week, and oil is sitting just above $91. Business at 56.
City News Time, 12:31.
That is time for traffic and weather together. Here's Carrie Prescott. This report is brought to you by AGM Renovations. We have a new problem on the northbound DVP.
Somebody took out a traffic light.
Shoulder here. This is a collision with police on the scene, so it's actually partially blocking the ramp lane. And so it is now on the northbound DVP as you approach that going pretty soon north of the way. 401, snow clouds making their way west of White's in the Express. So it's busy from about the 412 to west of White's Express. And then a jam up again, Brinley to Kennedy, that's just in the clusters. And then the other lane west of Charleston, Main up Express and clusters to so keep that in mind. And also watch out on the eastbound 401 ramp to McAllen. The right lane is blocked because of a collision. Southbound on the 400, delays through King Road. Just south of King Road, the two right lanes are blocked with a crash. You also can't access the southbound 400 from westbound King Road. That ramp too, since the southbound 400 is shut down, all due to that collision. Southbound on the 404 Dog Valley Parkway, we have snow clouds just approaching the Gardner now. So it's backed up on the southbound DVP as you approach Don Mills down to the Gardner. How about the money you save staying at home you spend on your home?
Ninth line,
Increase your
south
living
of
space. Finish your basement.
Deals.
Call AGM now and get $5,000 off your new basement. Visit agmrenovations.com. Now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Well, the weather advisory has just been dropped for the city of Toronto and almost the entire GTA. It's still in effect through Pickering and Oshawa. We are still seeing some snowfall through those sections. It won't be long now, though. We are getting into our clearing trend for the rest of the day today. You may still be seeing a bit of light snow depending on where you are in the GTA, but it's no longer the high impact snowfall along with the blustery winds. So you do want to keep it slow and steady on the road, but again, those advisories have ended for the city. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy, down to -12, guaranteed high -5.
City News Time, 12:33. Now, City News in-depth team coverage.
It's been just over a day since the Russian troops invaded Ukraine, and more cities are slowly being taken over by Russian troops. Residents of Ukraine's capital, those who are still there, are seeing their city hit with shelling.
Now, City's Caitlin Lee has been following all the latest developments in Kyiv and other cities in the area. Joins us live now with the latest info. Caitlin?
The Russian troops closing in on Ukraine's capital. Reports of gunfire and shelling destroying bridges, at least one apartment building. The Ukrainians reporting Russians fired on the kindergarten in Kyiv. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Thankfully, there were no kids there at the time, but there is growing fear about civilian casualties as Russian forces bear down on the capital. There were explosions and heavy fire before a pause that the U.S. believes is meant to give the Russians a chance to resupply and reinforce their troops.
The invasion has forced citizens into underground shelters. The UN preparing for millions of people to leave the country. Thousands have already crossed the border into Poland. But Russian troops are facing resistance. Ukraine's president vowing he will remain in the capital despite the presence of troops, knowing he is a target. CNN's Frederick Bliskin is right across the border in Russia and says a lot of armor continues to be brought into Ukraine, and there are tanks on standby.
Certainly seems as though if Vladimir Putin is running into any sort of problems with his offensive, if he's meeting stiff resistance, he still does have a lot of room to escalate.
The Kremlin says Russia is ready to talk with Ukrainian officials, but U.S. intelligence sources tell CNN they're concerned Kyiv could fall to Russia within days. Reporting live, Caitlin Lee, City News. Here at home, Ontario's Liberal leader thinks the LCBO should stop selling certain types of alcohol because of the Russian invasion. Our Richard Southern explains.
The LCBO should stop selling Russian vodka. So says Stephen Del Duca, Ontario's Liberal leader. The LCBO is actually the largest buyer of alcohol in the world. And so I think it will send a clear financial message to Russia. But at the same time, it's important for us to show Ukrainians who live here in our province that Ontarians and Canadians stand with them.
It's not immediately clear how many vodkas fully produced in Russia the LCBO sells. We have reached out to the Liquor Control Board. Yesterday, the foreign government announced $300,000 in humanitarian aid for Ukraine. NDP leader Andrea Horwath today said it should be in the tens of millions, in her opinion. Richard Southern City News.
Well, the Prime Minister and other NATO leaders have been meeting today to discuss exactly what next steps are going to be taken when it comes to handling Russia and its invasion of Ukraine. With the latest details from Ottawa, here's our Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, U.S. President Joe Biden, and other world leaders are attending this important NATO meeting, with Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg calling on Russia to immediately cease its military action.
We stand
This is
with the
Derry
brave
Road.
people of Ukraine. We fully support Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, its right of self-defense, and its right to choose its own path.
Canada has placed 3,400 troops on standby for a potential NATO response. NATO is not directly involved in this military conflict, but there are missions in neighboring NATO countries. Later today, the Deputy Prime Minister will be holding a news conference on the conflict, along with our Defense and Foreign Affairs Ministers. The Canadian Press reports our federal government will be matching donations individuals make to the Canadian Red Cross for humanitarian relief for Ukraine. They will be willing to match up to $10 million. Meanwhile, Ukraine's charge d'affaires in Canada tells Omni News he's happy with the federal plan to fast-track Ukrainian immigration applications, but believes more can be done to help with refugees and wounded.
In recent years across Canada, shootings have become more common. Many Canadians feel threatened in their own communities.
This is Eglinton, 9th line and Eglinton. If you turn left, it's Mississauga and Credit Valley Hospitals down that way. If you turn right, you have access to Milton, Oakville. Trafalgar Road is just over to the right.
MailChimp, built for growing.
He is the -8 with a few flurries this afternoon. I'm Irene Prickwood. Here are the top stories this hour. It's been just over 24 hours since Russia invaded Ukraine, and more of that country now falling into Russian hands. Russian forces advancing to the outskirts of the capital city, Kyiv. It is now nighttime there. Prime Minister
And over the 407.
world leaders are meeting at this hour, the NATO meeting, to discuss the next steps in stopping the Russian invasion. And here at home, border city mayors are calling on the federal government to drop the negative COVID-19 test requirement to cross the land border. The mayors of Windsor, Sarnia, and Niagara Falls, both Ontario and New York, among them calling for the move.
And this is where the 407 and the 403 meets.
And we say good afternoon, Caroline Sullivan. Irene, it's been 9 days since the Raptors were last at work. That was an extended all-star break, but now it's time to get back to work. The Raptors make a visit to Charlotte looking for the season sweep of the Hornets. It'll be the third matchup between the two teams this season. Toronto won the last two in a big way, thanks to a 32-point performance by Gary Trent Jr. in the first, and an almost triple-double from Pascal Siakam in the other game. Tip-off, 7 o'clock. Toronto FC have been busy this offseason, and now reports are circulating that Italian left-back Domenico Cristito will be signing a contract with TFC in the next few days. And it's thought he'll be joining the club in March instead of staying with Genoa till the end of the season. Time for a daily baseball update. Well, nothing new. The two sides will be meeting again today. They met every day this week, including a big 4-hour session yesterday. No apparent progress was made. On Wednesday, the league said that it'll begin canceling
William
regular
Holden
season
Parkway
games.
goes off to the right. Burnham Thorpe goes off to the left. And hey, the rest of the world, look, roundabout in Canada. Ooh. We're getting quite a few now. Glen Oaks Funeral Home and Cemetery on the right. Sports Center on the left. All the way down at 9th Line and Dundas. Left-hand side, you have a drive-in movie theater over there. Five drive-in. Rugby club on the right. Crusaders Rugby Club, I guess. This is 9th Line and Upper Middle Road in Oakville.
City News Time, 12:51. Time for traffic and weather together. Here's Carrie Fresca. This report is brought to you by Mark Feldstein and Associates. Northbound on the DVP, north of Lawrence. That problem has cleared, but it's a slow go heading up this route. Northbound on Valley Parkway, seeing delays from just north of Don Mills to north of Lawrence. Westbound on the 401, we had a brief problem approaching Markham Road in the Express, and also some snowplows making their way through Scarborough. So it's backed up on the westbound 401 from about Port Union to Markham Road, Express and Collectors. And a fairly new problem approaching Avenue Road in the Express. Right lane now blocked with a collision, so it's jammed up as you approach Yonge towards Avenue in the Express mainly. And then busy west of Toronto from Mavis Express and Collectors to approaching Mississauga Road. We also have an issue on the 407 westbound, a couple of issues actually. First, watch out for debris approaching Leslie in the center lane. Reports of a shop back. And then also westbound on the 407 west of the 427, 3 right lanes closed. And that's due to a jackknife tractor trailer. It's backed up from the 427. Eastbound on the 401, busy from Kipling to the 400 in the Express. The northbound Bayview ramp to the eastbound 401, that has reopened.